and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be another of my 5-book series. I did already by now post the 5 books or book series that I want to restart, but this video is going to be the 5 books from my childhood. So these are the books that I grew up reading, they're the books I remember reading, they're the books that somehow made an impact when I was younger, and I just want to tell you about them. So here we go. Also, there's like this gap in my bangs that like won't go away. Getting these taken care of today. Ugh. But until then, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Like, what is going on? That's gonna bother me forever. It's like right in the middle of my face. So 5 books from my childhood. The very first one I always tell people about was like, oh my gosh, when you were younger, did you read Brindle by Andrew Clements? So this is a book that I loved this book when I was younger. I recently reread it at the end of last year, and it is just so heartwarming. There's a lot of things that even as an adult now I can take away from this book. It's adorable, and it's just about this middle grade boy who comes up with a new word in his English class, and it's Brindle for pen, and he has a very grammatically correct English teacher, and she has like this huge dictionary at the front of her classroom, and so they kind of go on this like war or feud of basically this kid making up this word and so many people catching on, like all across, you know, like the state and the world, and so what it means for a word to be a word. And I think any writer should like read this book or reread this book if you have, and it's so great. I loved it so much even as an adult. And leading off of Brindle by the same author, there is Things Not Seen by Andrew Clements. I love this book so much. So this is a book that I want to reread this year because I recently found it again. And it's about this boy who wakes up and he is invisible. So he's just, you know, living his regular old life, and he wakes up and no one can see him. And while he is living this invisible life, he befriends this blind girl. And so they have this friendship that grows and blossoms, and it's just so heartwarming. There's also visually impaired representation in this book. I haven't read it since I was in middle school, but I'm really excited to see what I think of this book, the messages that it represents and shows, and even the representation within the book. But I highly recommend this book now, even though I haven't read it since I was in middle school. Yeah, Andrew Clements was my like favorite author in middle school. I loved Andrew Clements, and it's just, yeah, I love it. Okay, next is a series that I think almost anyone probably remembers from when they were younger, and that is the Magic Treehouse series. I recently bought books 1 through 4, and that entails Dinosaurs Before Dark, The Night at Dawn, Mummies in the Morning, Empire Past Noon. And I remember really enjoying, and these have like different covers now than when I grew up, if I'm not mistaken, because these don't look super familiar. It might even be Mummies in the Morning that I remember loving. I remember there was an Egyptian one that I absolutely fell in love with when I was younger. So I do want to reread these books as well as an adult, just because I remember them making such a huge impact in my life and my reading. And I can't get that last book in there. What is going on? Why is this happening to me? Why? Okay, there we go, there we go. Put that one in first, and then put this one in. It's like a puzzle. Okay, so yeah, I bought the first 4, and I think this is a book that people can remember buying at like the scholastic book fairs during school, in the school library, and you know, I love this. Also, when I was younger, I didn't read very well. I was not a good reader, and it was because of some like ear things that was happening, because I couldn't hear people, and when you can't hear people, that hinders a lot of your other learning when you are younger in school. And so I was put in a program called Title I, where they focused on listening, reading, spelling, all that stuff, grammar, because I went so long without being able to hear everything that I started struggling with some of my studies when I was younger. And this is one of the series that I remember got me into reading again, because I hated reading because I was horrible at it. But this is something where after we found out that I was just having like chronic ear infections and was able to hear again, that I realized what a lot of words and sentences, structures, and grammar points were supposed to sound like, and it helped my reading in the long run. But this is one of the books in series that I remember loving picking up when I was catching up my reading level to everyone else in my age group. So who else remembers this book? I'm curious. The next one I love so much. I know I said that about all of these, but I do. But that is The Doll People, and it is by Anne M. Martin and Laura Godwin, and the pictures are by Brian Selznick. And within the book, they have cute little illustrations. Here's a whole page of illustrations, but yeah, it's super cute. And this just follows a family of dolls. So this little girl has this dollhouse, and the dolls come to life, things happen. It reminds me a lot of Toy Story, and this is another book that I really want to reread. And I also recently found The Meanest Doll in the World, which is I think it is book 2 of the series, but I don't think I've ever read book 2. I think I've only ever read book 1. So yeah, it reminds me of Toy Story. It's super fun, light, easy read, and I recommend it to everyone. The next one I do not own, but that is, I really remember reading all the Shel Silverman. I think that's her last name, Silverman. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen or put like the book picture up here, which I'll do regardless, but if I'm wrong. Which is like the Falling Up, like their poem collections. I know there was multiple ones out there, but I remember really liking those, and they're the only like poetry collections that I remember actually enjoying when I was younger. I remember they had pictures and like little doodles. I remember they were really fun, and if I'm not mistaken, it's been so long since I've read some of these books, but they like told a story all together within the book. But yeah, I remember reading these poetry collections, and they're actually books that I have been wanting to maybe start recollecting, because I don't think there's actually that many of them, but they're just fun, fast, easy reads as well. I think they're also focused towards middle schoolers or that similar age group, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, those are the 5 books that are from my childhood that made an impact that I really remember. And in the comments below, let me know what books that you remember reading. I know a lot of people are probably going to say Harry Potter, but I'm kind of interested maybe in some of the other, maybe not as well known as Harry Potter. What books do you remember reading when you were younger, in like late elementary school or middle school? Because this is a huge part of my childhood, is reading, as a bunch of you can probably relate to. So yeah, share that with me down below in the comments box. Subscribe if you like this video. I want to see more from me, and I'll see you guys all next time. All love. Bye.